Adam Taxon here talking with Joseph Rooney, Republican candidate for Congress in Pennsylvania's 13th District, going up against the Democrat Allyson Schwartz. Joe, thanks for talking with me today.
Adam, thank you very much for having me on short notice.
And we're doing these, I guess, Allyson Schwartz, as a career politician, has a big financial advantage over you, and she can run a lot more commercials than you can, but there's no reason we shouldn't take advantage of everything that's available, and I'd like to do a series of short interviews with you on the issues of the day. And one of the issues that I know is on your mind is the recent developments in Europe, specifically the elections in Greece and France, and perhaps the impending demise of the euro, or the European Union. Any immediate thoughts you have about what's going on in Europe?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking me about that, and it's a great way by using the internet to get to introduce myself to people, and hopefully they'll get some idea on the issues and where I stand, and they can compare them with what they probably don't know about Allyson Schwartz, even though she's been in office for 8 years. Yeah,
Joe, I was going to say it is, because a lot of politicians complain about their financial disadvantage, but you might as well do everything you can for free, before you worry about that. You might as well take advantage of all resources and opportunities if you're at a financial disadvantage. Anyhow, sorry, back to Europe.
There was a great interview recently by a parliamentarian in England, and everybody's aware of the problems that are going on in Greece and the problems that are probably upcoming in Spain, and then also France with the recent election of a socialist over Mr. Sarkozy. And basically, the British parliamentarian said that
that's Nigel.
I'm sorry.
Nigel, what's his last name again?
I'm sorry, I don't know. That was Farage or something.
Yeah, that's right. Nigel. Yeah, it's whatever. Okay, sorry.
In Europe, this gentleman basically said that the Eurozone is the Titanic approaching the iceberg right now. It's a slow wreck about to happen. And he's got a great point where he says, mass unemployment and low growth is no way to run either a continent or a country. And we seem to be facing that ourselves. He basically points out some obvious things. If you take a look at Europe, and it's hard for us to even conceive of it, but Greece and Spain both have 22% unemployment rates. France is nearly 10%, although America is less than that at 8%. But Philadelphia, in our area, 10.3% in Philadelphia itself, and the black Philadelphian unemployment rate is almost 15%. Now, we're not quite at European rates yet, but it should give us pause that we have to address these problems right now.
And not all areas in the U.S. are, in the same place unemployment-wise. I mean, obviously places like California have it worse than Texas. That gets a lot of example. I guess Pennsylvania is somewhere in the middle.
Thanks a lot for bringing that up, because, it seems like we're just fighting over how are we going to slow the Titanic down. What we need to do is we need to look at places where it's going right now in America itself and say, how are they doing it and how can we do it better? Now, on the negative side of the ledger, you brought up California. When Jerry Brown came into office, $9 billion of deficit. He's been in office for less than a year, and he's now projecting it at $16 billion. We don't want to do what California's doing. On the other hand, take a look at North Dakota, 3% unemployment rate. Now, everybody hears about the Bakken Shale in North Dakota, but I have to tell you, North Dakota's got actually a diversified economy. The number one thing out of North Dakota even still is agriculture. North Dakota is a lot smaller than Pennsylvania, but if you take a look at it, Pennsylvania has a wealth of agriculture. Pennsylvania has a wealth of natural resources, just like North Dakota. We need to be promoting this. And obviously, that's not Montgomery County and Philadelphia, but all of those things in Pennsylvania will lead to, it's not trickle down, but will expand the entire economy of the state. If we get our state growing, we have 7.5% unemployment right now. We stabilize unemployment. We improve as far as natural resources development. That stabilizes our housing prices. It brings housing back. And I'm telling you, it's a chain reaction in improving our economy if we do it correctly.
Yeah, Joe, I was going to say I do take exception with one thing you said. Obviously, the Titanic reference is very timely. However, the Titanic problem could be avoided if you noticed the iceberg and just steered the boat a different way. You could have avoided the whole tragedy there. However, the economy is not going to be quite as easy to fix.
If I may have misspoken a little bit.
I'm just tweaking you.
Titanic is $15 trillion worth of debt.
Yes.
Just last year we were fighting over the deficit We're going to expand our ability to borrow money. This is coming at us again. We went up to 15 to 15.9, and we're approaching that right now. Before the end of this year, we're going to have another round in the House. We're going to be talking about extending our debt ceiling. This is insanity. We're not stopping anything. We're just borrowing money in order to pay off our credit bills right now. And then the Congress is saying, hey, we need to borrow more money, so extend our credit. What we need is we don't need to argue over ways to get whomever to pay more money or who's not paying their fair share. We need the guys who are spending our money to spend it better. That's what we ought to be arguing over, is why are they spending our money so badly? So.
Yeah, I was going to say Allyson Schwartz, is a fair share type. She'll probably say all the right things, but she's very much a rubber stamp for Barack Obama. Except sometimes Absolutely. She says the right things on
Absolutely.
Israel.
Allyson Schwartz has been in as we have brought our deficit. We've over doubled our deficit during the 8 years that she's been in office. Over $5 trillion and more in deficit in just the last 4 years alone. We're not going to get any improvements from her. She's not talking about and working to reduce both the deficit and our debt.
Right. And if you were to throw a question at her in case this goes viral somehow, which is the long-term goal here.
I screwed that up.
No, you didn't. It's fine. It's fine.
I think I used deficit when I meant to say debt.
It wouldn't be the first time an aspiring politician. Okay, corrected. You can correct it. Let's go on. But if you had a question for Allyson, believe me, there are Democrats who make that mistake all the time and don't catch it. But I'm just going to leave it in as is. But if you have a question for Allyson Schwartz that you'd like to ask her, if you saw her face to face and you had a public crowd about all these issues, what would it be? Whether to Europe or to debt or the deficit, what would it be?
If I could ask Allyson Schwartz one question about our catastrophic debt, it would be, Allyson, what have you done in the 8 years that you've already been in the House of Representatives to specifically address our debt and how we are going to deal with it? We can't kick this can down the road.
My guess is her euphemized answer would not be another stimulus package or another round of quantitative easing.
You could ask that same question of Allyson Schwartz over the impending problems with Social Security. You could ask that question over the impending problems with Medicare. She can demagogue this all she wants. However, people are beginning to realize that we have to address these entitlement problems that we have coming up, and we can't just pretend that the problem is that Group A is going to try and take it from Group B. Everybody knows there's a problem. We have to solve the problems with our national debt, with entitlement, Social Security, and Medicare. And that doesn't mean taking it away from people. It means saving it and ensuring that it's there for the future.
So it's not just Bush's fault. That's a joke, by the way.
Yep. It's not George Bush's fault. 4 years later, we can't continue to blame George Bush for everything.
Yeah. Okay, Joe Rooney, Republican congressional candidate in Pennsylvania's 13th District. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks, Adam.